Maybe you've noticed, but there's been a recent trend of very solid mid-range phones running dual-core Qualcomm processors. Is the HTC One SV a worthy competitor, or just a plot by HTC to keep confusing us with its naming conventions? Find out in our review. Hey everybody, I'm Chris Book. Now while it's got its own style and software, the HTC One SV is pretty similar to other phones we've looked at recently, both in its performance and in its hardware. How similar is it? Well, let's take a look at the specs. The HTC One SV runs a 1.2 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon processor and has a 4.3-inch WVGA display. It has 1 GB of RAM and 8 GB of internal storage, expandable via microSD. The rear and front-facing cameras are 5 megapixels and 1.6 megapixels respectively. All of this is powered by a 1800 mAh battery. The look of the HTC One SV is pretty similar to some other models in the One line of HTC phones, though the body isn't quite as bulky as some. My review unit was in white, but the One SV is available in a range of different colors. Generally, I don't like the design quite as much as some other HTC devices, but it's still fairly stylish. Build quality is usually a strong suit with HTC phones, and the One SV is no different in this case. Though it's fairly light, it still feels very sturdy, though I don't know how well it would survive a drop test. The phone fit very nicely in my hand, and the buttons feel well laid out. The weakest aspect of the HTC One SV is definitely its display. With a pixel density of 217 pixels per inch, you're definitely going to end up with some items not being rendered as sharply as they could be. That said, the screen is bright and colors are vivid, so it's not like we're looking at an entirely low-end display here. Dual-core Snapdragons do a great job of bringing decent performance to mid-range phones, and that is definitely the case here. We ran Antutu 3 times and averaged the scores, ending up with an average figure of around 10,900. Running Epic Citadel in benchmark mode produced similar results, with the high quality setting producing around 48 frames per second, and the high performance setting yielding 50 frames per second. Scrolling through home screens in the app drawer was always smooth, apps always launched quickly, and games performed pretty well despite the occasional hitch in performance. The One SV runs Android 4.0.4 Ice Cream Sandwich, skinned with HTC Sense 4.1. We've heard that an update to Jelly Bean and Sense 4 Plus might be on the way, but I had no such luck during testing. There are a lot of apps pre-installed, and while some definitely fall into the category of bloatware, a surprising number of them are actually pretty useful, like the flashlight, mirror, voice recorder, and FM radio apps. You may not use these all the time, but they're definitely more useful than a lot of pre-installed apps we've seen. I never really expect amazing results out of the cameras in mid-range phones, which means I'm usually not too disappointed. This worked out for the One SV. The 5 megapixel rear camera isn't too bad and can definitely take a decent photo. Low light performance in particular was better than expected. HTC has thrown in HDR, best shot, and a few other useful features. The 1080p video capture is fairly decent with generally the same image quality as still shots, and HTC has included the fun but not too useful slow-mo mode. Snapdragon chipsets are usually good at getting the most out of a battery, so the 1800 mAh capacity of the One SV's battery isn't something to worry over. During heavy testing, I still ended up with just over 8 hours of battery life, and in more normal use, the phone easily lasted a full day without charging. Surprise, surprise, the battery is actually removable, which isn't something I usually expect in HTC phones. Being able to carry a spare battery or use an extended battery is always handy. So right now we have a lot of similarly spec'd phones coming out at similar price points, and it seems like that's going to keep happening. So what makes them all different? The design. With the One SV, by keeping the design similar to some of its other more popular phones, HTC is betting on already established designs. It works for me, but your mileage may vary. Now, if you'd like to know more about the HTC One SV, we do have a written companion to this video. You can find the full article at AndroidAuthority.com. The link is in this video's description. We always have new videos going up, so if you haven't yet, you may want to subscribe to our channel. I'm Chris Book for Android Authority, and as always, thank you for watching.